Hello and welcome to Were You Not Entertained? I'm Daniel.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm James.
And we are continuing our spooky season. Continuing, yes. Our spooky season coverage with another classic movie. So Halloween, the 1978? Yeah, 1978 edition. Obviously there are multiple iterations of this now.
Oh, yes.
But this was the one, the only, the original. Not to be mistaken with something else that has Halloween in the title.
Sure. I think Halloween is the ultimate story of low budget movie that becomes an absolute icon.
Yeah, no, I think it very much fits that bill.
Yeah, it became an icon.
Yeah, well, the budget was $300,000. So not a lot of money.
Fair.
Mostly spent on cameras, I think.
Yes. Yeah, because at this time, I mean, most of the actors that were in this, aside from the doctor, were pretty unknown.
Yeah.
Right.
And it had a tiny cast. And as far as, sets go, it had a couple, but it was very within range.
Yeah.
Right? There weren't that many locations.
No.
And, this is early on in Carpenter's career. Like, he had done an Assault on Precinct 13, but, this is before the things that I really love the most, like In the Mouth of Madness, The Thing. That's the best one ever. And then, which is after this. And then you also had They Live and, God, a million other ones. John Carpenter's Vampires, Escape from New York, Escape from LA. Like, just so many great movies.
Yeah,
I didn't
absolutely.
like this at all.
Well, that's not surprising.
Well, I don't know. It's probably because it's the first time I've ever seen this. And it's 2022. And the things that it did so well in 1978 have probably all become so tropey that they're not novel or interesting to me. And the things that, like character dialogue and reason and timeline, that I've become more accustomed to in a modern setting because it's so heavily expected by the fan base. If there's any incongruency in the modern or the Marvel Cinematic Universe across multiple movies, there's entire swaths of the internet going crazy. And it just kind of was not my thing.
Yeah, I did say it's not surprising.
But it's not The Exorcist or Nightmare on Elm Street for me. Those were both just like, wow, now I understand why everyone loves these. And this was a lot more, it was slashery, and I'm not the slasher guy. But
yeah, the tropes that you're talking about were invented with this movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. It was so groundbreaking in how it accomplished its goal of frightening that everything after that is trying to copy it. It's trying to imitate it because they did such a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. It's not goofy like you get with Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And it's not even kind of the same sort of movie that The Exorcist is. So other than to say that they're like horror films, there's no real comparison.
Yeah, this is not an Oscar level horror movie, but this movie is groundbreaking in so many ways. As far as camera techniques and some of the unique ways they went about things had just never been seen or done before. And this movie is an absolute passion project, right? So John Carpenter, I mean, this was his baby, and they made this movie on an incredibly tiny budget. Nobody would touch it to make it. Nobody would distribute it. And then it just became this incredible thing. I mean, he even did all the music himself.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I think that's so cool to really see a movie like this that's super unique. It's got it's got a lot of new things at the time that nobody had ever seen, things that they came up with on their own. And it was kind of just a group of friends that decided to make a movie. And I think it was incredible with what they achieved.
It's kind of like a bunch of friends that were willing to make a movie. They didn't decide to make the movie. They were
Dragged into it.
They said, hey, I'm thinking about making this movie. Would you help?
Yeah.
Actually, the guy that played, what was what'd they call him? The
Shape.
The Shape. The guy that played the Shape was just
Who's the Shape?
a friend, Michael Myers.
Oh, is that what they called him in the?
What they call him in the script.
Oh,
But he was just a friend that wanted to come and hang out and kind of fit the physical bill, and was like, hey, while you're here, why don't you be useful?
Yeah, and he was so much not an actor that they gave him direction that he did not understand why. They would say, tilt your head. And so he would do it and think, why am I doing this? And then in watching the dailies back, it was, oh, well, that's cool. Look at what that looks like.
and it probably had him do it. It probably ended up him doing it in a more unnatural way because he didn't understand what he was supposed to be doing, and it actually made it a little creepier.
Yeah, way more.
Yeah, I think it did.
Stiff and uncomfortable.
I think it did, absolutely.
It's like an imitation of a human being.
Yeah. Slashers are not my thing either, but I really like Halloween. I like the original because it is a slasher, but it has virtually no blood.
Yeah, it's not super gory at all. It's not gory at all.
It's not gory at all. Yeah. That was kind of one of the things behind the making of it, was to not be a bloody gore fest and to be more of a scary experience than a grossed out experience.
Yeah, I did feel like it was inspired by Hitchcock.
Yeah, and it absolutely was. It had some elements that were tributes to Hitchcock, but then John Carpenter stated that his ultimate tribute was putting Jamie Lee Curtis in the film.
Mm-hmm.
That was like his big, most important thing, was to have her involved in the project.
Yeah, and she had only done like one or two small things.
Why is what?
Why was that his big thing?
Oh, yeah, because of Janet Leigh.
Expound for the audience.
Oh, why don't you expound? You obviously know the story.
I've vaguely heard it, but I am not a Halloween fan, so I probably don't know any of it except for that. She's famous. She was an actress.
Yes, she was.
As far as I know,
she was Hitchcock's muse.
Gotcha.
So she's the girl from the iconic shower scene in Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jamie Lee Curtis is her daughter. And so with the way that they utilized the knife in Halloween, it was very important to John Carpenter to include Jamie Lee Curtis in this.
There we go. That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it is cool.
Because I knew that Jamie Lee Curtis was the daughter of two, famous Hollywood actors, but I didn't know that it was that close to that it was related to Hitchcock in that sense. And so that kind of makes it cool that I actually kind of felt the Hitchcock references in the movie without having that be known to me at the time.
Yeah, that's the ultimate reason why they don't really show the knife stabbing into anyone.
Yeah. Okay.
Is because Hitchcock never did.
Right.
The cinematography is great. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really loved that the clown mask was sort of their ultimate hack for how to have a long take with a camera that can only do 4.5 minutes of footage at a time.
Yeah. No, that was pretty good at the beginning.
Yeah.
She's talking about.
That was such a cool trick, a good way to sneak in a cut without making it look
Yeah, without
like an
having to
obvious
do
cut.
Yeah.
Can I ask, what the hell is wrong with Michael Myers' parents? I mean, you come home from a Halloween party and you see your kid standing on the lawn who's supposed to be watched, probably fairly late, standing there with in a Halloween costume with a bloody knife, and they don't know that that's blood necessarily. Let's say that they instantly assumed it's blood. They pull the mask off and go, Michael, and stand there for like 15 minutes.
I think they were. I mean,
Waiting for
yes,
the
it
scene
was.
to end.
It was a long. Yeah, it was a long pause for a cut. But I also think, like, if you look at the dad, the one who pulls the mask off of him,
Mhm.
where he's kind of like looking at him, and then he's kind of like looking at himself, like when he reached down to grab the mask that he brushed against him and got blood on himself.
Mm.
And I think it's kind of the realization of like, what is this? Is this blood? Like, why are you, what's happened? And instead of him going, what, for 5 minutes and then cutting, they just kind of stand there in silence and
Or they could have
wonderment.
rushed inside. To
Could
see
have.
what was going on. Because you have 2 children.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
I would think it was so far out of something they expected for anything to have happened to the older sister. They probably thought she was inside on the phone or inside with her boyfriend, just doing unreliable older sister things. And for him to be standing out there, I think is more of a process of why are you out here and why are you covered in something that I don't know what it is?
Yeah. Is this a real, like, is that a real knife?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Fair.
Also,
But it felt weird.
it's a movie.
Right. They were
It's
pulling
also-
out and swelling music. That's why they stood there.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it's a movie. It's also an old movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if this was anything but a slasher, you would not be complaining about it.
I don't know about that.
It's a direct call out.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure because there were elements like this in The Exorcist,
Yeah.
but you were amused and like sucked into The Exorcist.
And in every Stanley Kubrick movie ever.
Yes, God.
Right? Yeah, no, I
Absolutely.
just thought that was funny. It was a humorous scene where I was laughing at it. But not like I didn't think that ruined the movie. There's definitely
Well, even the
bigger-
kid's face, like when they
Right.
pulled the mask off of him. It's like, did you just kill someone? Because you look like you're confused or something.
Right.
Yeah, it was. Sure. I mean, there's moments like that, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's not what makes this movie the movie that it is. It's the suspense.
ever-presence
It's
of,
the
ever-present nature of Michael Myers in
Yeah.
the background, in the scenery.
exactly the
Is
lurking.
probably the best part. Yeah.
No, it absolutely is.
Yeah. I'm so curious. I can't really wrap my head around the feeling on set when they pull out this William Shatner mask and paint it white. And there's your Michael Myers mask. Like, I'm just really curious who thought that up, and then looking at that for the first time and being like, oh my God, this is horrifying.
The props guy thought it up.
Yeah, but I would just love to have seen that initial reaction from people that didn't know what was going on. Is that a Captain Kirk mask?
I don't think it's even recognizable as a Captain Kirk mask.
No.
No, not really.
I think that when you first saw it, I would assume it was much of a, what is that?
Right.
That is
Creepy-ass
unnerving.
mask.
Yeah, exactly. That is highly unnerving.
And to
Yeah,
be
I've seen that mask 1,000 times, and I never have been like, yeah, that looks like William Shatner. I've just heard that and been like, oh, I guess. When I look at it, like, it's never looked like William Shatner to me.
to be fair, even in flesh tone, it doesn't really look that much like William Shatner.
It was a Halloween mask from 1978.
It was that, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, go look them up. They're not the best quality most of the time.
Yeah, it was like a
The
rubbery sock.
rubberized. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Some malformed rubberized thing that just kind of sits on your head.
Yeah. And I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, I really like this. I like the original much better than I like the remakes. I just think it's great and it's so unique in its own way. And the Rob Zombie version, which is probably the most famous
That's 2010.
of the other ones. Yeah, I think it is 2010.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
That one is interesting in its own way, but it's very Rob Zombie.
Oh, it is.
So everything is taken
It's hardcore.
10
If you-
steps further than it really needs to be
If-
scary.
Yeah, if you're not prepared for gory, don't
House of 1,000 Rejects and or
House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's
Devil's
Rejects.
Devil's
Yeah.
Rejects, yeah.
Yes, those
Okay.
movies set the tone for,
Okay,
for
cool.
his remake of Halloween.
I'm good.
And
Yeah, it's got his wife in it. And in my opinion, though, I'll at least say for it that the child actor they selected for Michael Myers was so much scarier than the kid in this one.
so the main difference is they really dig into the lore and the creation of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Which was pretty interesting. But this one is very much, you get a little bit of it. You get the beginning. You don't know why he's just stabbed his sister to death. But after that, it is basically the story is he is the personification of evil. And that is his role. He's just plain evil. And that's all you need to know about him.
Yeah.
I guess it's just like there's so much weird stuff. That's the kind of thing that like got me too, is that I know some of the things about Michael Myers just from cultural osmosis.
Just because there's like
And
8 iterations of it now.
Yeah.
right. And there were just some things that I was like, wow, I literally have no idea why any of this is happening. Like,
You're not
why do
supposed
they have that
to.
creepy
That's-
ass mask in the hardware store? And
Sure.
nobody in the entire town notices this dude walk around in broad daylight. It's Halloween, so there's a little pass there.
Yep.
I don't know. There's just some like, why is Michael killing these specific people? And you never find out. Like, I mean, I know later that Laurie is his biological sister or something like that, right?
Mhm.
And
Yep.
that, it's babysitters, I think, that he's wanting to kill.
Yeah. But also, part of why he's killing these specific people, the original target, at least from what they tell you in this version, it's that he comes back to Haddonfield and Laurie approaches his door.
Comes to the door of the house.
So he sees her and the little boy and sort of fixates.
Yeah.
Now
Okay.
later,
And then
we find
follows
out
them and
why.
picks up everybody around them.
Right. He follows them and then he starts picking off people that she's interacting with.
Yeah, because also if you notice, the people that he kills came to where he's at. like he left his house obviously to follow Lori and the kid, but he's not like he didn't go 4 blocks over and randomly break into a house and kill some random people and then come back. Like her friends, the reason her friends died is because they came over to the house.
Yeah. Okay. Well, slightly less confused.
It makes a little more sense.
Yeah, it's not as this. I don't know what the right word is.
Yeah, it's not as
Disjointed.
randomized.
Yeah, I guess disjointed was kind of what I was going for, but I was like, that's not really the right word. Vague is kind of what I meant.
Sure.
Makes a little more sense. Yeah. Okay.
You also have to keep in mind that back then for this movie, that's the scary part. Right? So today, in reality, the way I live my life anyway, maybe I'm crazy, but
That's
like anything can happen to you at any time.
Yeah.
Right? I do not live with this sense of euphoric nothing bad could ever happen. But in a small town in Illinois, back then, they're not locking doors, they're leaving windows open. Like that's the feeling that you're supposed to have. And that's the feeling that a lot of the people that came and like watched the movie probably have. We don't lock our front door. What if there was a madman out there just stalking around killing us? That's the driving fear behind it. And then you just have him lurking around until he strikes, basically.
Well,
so you're saying My Americana's too dead to enjoy this movie properly?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm too disenfranchised.
Yeah. I think without that perspective
Yeah.
in starting it.
No, I get that. There's that whole like post-war, 1970s suburbia style of, like you said, don't lock your front doors kind of small town feel.
Right.
That's ridiculous today, even in small towns.
Yeah, and I think that was sort of their intention as well with the not giving you a lot of details for the why, because for them, the movie's scarier when you don't know what's happening and when you can't see everything. It's part of why there wasn't a lot of blood and why Michael Myers appears in shadows a lot, because they felt like if it wasn't just direct, that's what's much scarier.
I can see that.
By the way, the scene where Lori goes in and finds her friends and then stumbles out into the hall and is standing by the door, like that, the entry into the room that's completely black. And then you see, Michael Myers' face appear. That's really good. I mean, that's really good. That's that part all on its own is enough to kind of give you the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, never trust a shadowy space.
I do find it a really, really, really weird choice that Michael went and stole the gravestone so he could just have that set up at the end.
Yeah. I don't know. There's, like I said, the other movies get more into the lore a little bit.
Yeah.
About what that's about. But
yeah, you were just supposed to be, I guess, uncomfortable that he desecrated a grave in that way to steal a headstone. It's just supposed to be another evil, how dare he.
Well, that and a verification for Loomis that he is there to essentially try to exact revenge on the town, to continue his spree.
He didn't run to Mexico.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I do love the line. He's been locked up for 15 years. How does he know how to drive? I don't know, but he was doing a pretty good job last night.
Right. Why are you
Fair
asking
enough.
me? Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I love this movie. I really enjoy watching it. It is a go-to for the month of October for us for spooky season. I think it is such an iconic beginning to what so many horror movies tried to emulate that it's impossible not to watch for me. I know it's not your thing, but
I don't need to yuck your yum, though.
fair enough.
Enjoy what you enjoy.
Yeah. I like horror movies, all shapes and kinds.
Yeah, I don't, but I like this one just fine.
I say I like all of
I wouldn't say that I love it,
most.
but I do like this one quite a bit. I enjoy it. I always want to watch it in October.
I am glad that I can say I've seen it now.
Well, it's also one of those movies if you're like, again, especially in today's day and age, if you want to watch a scary movie, we'll throw air quotes around the scary. It's not going to give you nightmares when you go to sleep. You know, it's not that kind
Yeah.
of scary movie.
Well, depending on the kind of person you are.
And age.
I feel like the kind of person that this would terrify is not watching these kinds of movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Teenagers.
Okay, I guess. I watched it when I was just a little kid, and I didn't have nightmares about that. So,
Oh, I had lots of nightmares about scary crap when I was young.
Yeah, but you don't have emotion like the rest of us. So
Wait, because I get more scared?
no, not you, Daniel. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Daniel doesn't feel things like other people.
I
So
need scary movies just to feel something.
yes,
Right.
exactly.
So the fact that it didn't give him nightmares as a small child is not like a surprising thing at all.
Fair.
Sure.
You guys want to get into favorite scenes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'll jump out there first.
All right.
I am going to go with when Dr. Loomis and the police chief go to Michael's old house
Mm-hmm.
to try to track him down. And there's the like warm dead dog. And he's like, I guess he got hungry. And just like the way that Charles Cyphers like chews that scene up with his monologue about the cold dead eyes of that boy. I knew there was nothing left in him but pure evil. It's wonderful. And you have
talking
the
about-
dumbest jump scare in
You're talking about Donald Pleasance, right?
yeah, Donald Pleasant. Sorry.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
doctor.
Loomis. Okay, cool.
I was looking at somebody else.
Gotcha. Just wanted
Yeah.
to make sure. Anyway,
Yes, Donald Pleasant. Loomis, the doctor who's after Michael.
the doctor. Yeah.
And then you have that random jump scare where a piece of like gutter decides
Falls.
that is the exact moment to bust through the glass when it hasn't for decades. It's so funny and ridiculous. And they're on the second floor, which is
Yeah.
another thing that would
Mhm.
make it less scary. Because, like, did Michael jump 17 feet to bust through the window? Like, I don't know. It has some funny moments, but at the same time, like, it's part of the movie where I get the most amount of information and lore. And I'm a real lore junkie and, like, world building junkie. And so that was the part that I got the most. And really, I kind of loved Donald Pleasant's performance in this.
Yeah.
I thought he was perfect for the role, and
Yeah.
he got to shine in this.
Yeah, he
He
was
did.
arguably the biggest name in this film.
No, he was
yeah.
the biggest name.
And
He was the
hated
the
it.
actor. Yeah, he didn't want to do it.
He didn't want to be in this movie, so I'm not really sure why he agreed to do it, but he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
He
a good
did. But
choice.
no, yeah, very good.
Okay.
It was
Who's up next?
good.
That was good.
I'll say mine. I already talked about it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, what you
It's after she goes in and finds her friends.
got? Yeah.
So you have
The kickoff to the climax.
you have the moment where she like kind of walks into the house is quiet and she's searching for her friends, but then walks into the room where one of her friends is splayed out on the bed with a tombstone above her head.
Yeah.
Annie.
Yes, that's not bad enough. But then the guy falls out of the closet, and then her friend is stuffed in a cabinet.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
get like screams from each one of these, and it's terrifying her.
The death face on her friend in the cabinet, Linda, was awesome.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, it was.
Continue.
But then she kind of, after having this horrible fright, stumbles out of the room into the hall, and that's where she leans against the wall by that door that's pitch black, and you get the kind of focusing of the Michael Myers mask in the blackness of the room. You
Yeah.
can see he's standing there.
And
And then he takes one of the worst swings with the knife. He's got his prey completely unaware.
Yeah.
He manages to scratch her arm, but he also did send her over the edge of the banister, which would really hurt.
Yeah.
But that's it. Yeah, it's the kickoff. It's that scene that kind of kicks the whole thing into high gear.
Yeah,
That was
that's
a
a
good
really good one. Yeah. Okay, so it's my turn.
It is.
So I'm going to continue my own personal spooky season thing here of not picking a favorite scene, but picking a favorite thing. And in this movie, for me, it's the visuals. The way
yeah.
that they did visuals was so cool. From the super creepy Michael Myers just standing there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love whenever the bad guy stands there ominously and then vanishes.
Yeah, he's there and then he's gone.
It's so cool. It's such a mind trick of like, I saw that, right? Did I see that? And also that sort of ever-present threat of he's just there out of sight. He knows where you are, but you can't keep up with him. And I just think that things like that were really great. And then, like I mentioned earlier, with the putting the clown mask over the camera,
Mm-hmm.
such a cool visual. And then, like with the shadow scene, the way that they very lightly bring up the brightness so that it's like your eyes get accustomed to the dark, and there he is. I loved it. I like those elements of this movie. I think it's something they did in such a cool, unique way.
Mm-hmm.
When Loomis arrives at the hardware store and is talking to the sheriff, and you see Michael pull up behind and then pass
Yeah.
by exactly at the right time when Loomis looks back and forth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That was cool.
Yeah. And I love how there's always something lurking in the background.
Yeah.
I think that was really cool.
There's something lurking in the background so often that when there's not,
You're watching.
You're
for
like,
it.
all right, where is it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably the reason I paid so much attention to the visuals,
Mm-hmm.
because I was scanning the
Absolutely.
scene every time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, where is he in this one?
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is very good.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Or bring
Uh,
up, I guess, because you didn't choose.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say that for your benefit, James, if you're interested, and for anybody else that's listening to this, if you want to get background information, like some of the things that we talked about are from a Netflix show called The Movies That Made Us, which is interesting because we have an episode called that anyway.
Yeah, with Rob Lowe.
No.
No, this
Isn't
is an
that-
actual documentary TV show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they have various movies that they talk about And this is one of them.
Oh, nice.
And it's got some kind of cool stuff in there about how they managed to make the movie, and the fact that the film crew was a little more like family, and they all kind of knew each other beforehand and started working on this and continued to work on other projects and stuff like that together after, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's good.
Very cool. I think I was thinking some other show that's like about Hollywood tropes or something like that. I can't remember what it is, but I might check that out.
Me. Yeah.
All right. Well, then hopefully you enjoyed our coverage of Halloween, the original 1978 version. If you did, then please go online and like and subscribe. But most importantly, make sure to join us next time on Were You Not Entertained?